Hey, how you doing? Duff here. Welcome to a Tesla video. I know that there hasn't been as many as I would like recently for various reasons, but I did want to talk about the latest update that I just received last night. It says I'm at version 10.1 of the software, which translates to 219.36.2.1. There's some interesting things in this, and we're going to talk about it on the way home. So let's get going. First thing I noticed right away was the car, and just to clarify things, my car is a hardware version 3 car, manufactured April 2019. There are some differences with the features you get with hardware 3 versus 2.5, which I'll be talking about a little bit later. But anyways, one of the first things I noticed was when I got into my car this morning, and now again it's done this, based on your habits, like it knows I go to work in the morning and I come back from work at night, it automatically punches that route in and turns on navigation, which is a new feature. Kind of interesting. You can of course turn that off if you want to, but it saves me a couple presses, so that's an interesting feature. It says right now we'll be arriving home at 5:34. I doubt that's true because I'm going to be stopping to get coffee first. Okay, so one of the other big
turn right onto 10.
So one of the other big features with this release is a change to your stopping mode. You used to have two options. It was creep or roll. With creep, basically what that meant was the car kind of acted like a regular ICE vehicle. When you took your foot off the gas, it would still creep forward. The other option, which is what I had enabled previously, is called roll, where it will decelerate when you take your foot off the gas, but it doesn't come to a complete stop. Now with this release, they added a driving or a stopping mode called hold. So basically what it does now is you release your foot off the gas and it will gradually slow down like it did in roll, but the difference is now it will actually come to a complete stop and put you in hold mode. I don't know if you can see that right now, but right now we're in hold mode. And when you are set up with the roll setting, you have to actually enable hold mode by pressing down on the pedal for an additional second or two. Now if you have that mode selected, it just will automatically go to hold mode if you do not interact with the pedal. So even though the car was already almost exclusively one foot driving, you dirty son of a... Even though the car was primarily a one pedal experience, it's even now more so, because short of emergency braking, the car will stop. The car will stop and lock itself in place like this. And the hold, the automatic stop and hold, it does it very smoothly. It's not a jerky thing at all, which is cool. Okay, we're releasing. And hold.
In 1,000 feet, turn left.
Okay, we are utilizing another feature release right there to get out in front of traffic, and that is the 5% power boost. Now I had heard about that for a little while, and you know, when I heard 5%, I'm like, okay, well that's nice, I guess, but I didn't think I would really notice it that much. You know, this car is a fast car, and 5% didn't seem like it would equate to much seat of the pants difference. Let me tell you, there's a seat of the pants difference, and I plan to run another 0 to 60 on this thing to see how it compares to my initial test shortly after I got the car, but this feels significantly faster. It feels more than 5%, so I don't know what the deal is. I'm not complaining, it's great, but it definitely feels like more than a 5% speed boost. When I go back to driving my other vehicles, after primarily driving my Tesla all the time, I have to kind of readjust the way my brain works, because when you're in the Tesla, you can have a very small window of opportunity of like when you can merge into traffic or turn out right on red, that kind of stuff. Because with the Tesla, I mean, you are up to speed and beyond the speed of oncoming traffic in no time whatsoever. I mean, you can merge in almost any situation. If I'm driving my Tacoma, I'm about 2 seconds away from turning off navigation. And actually, we're going to just turn that off. We don't need it. Here we go. We're doing another stop. Automatic hold. My foot is not on the pedal. We stopped and we're holding. Oh, right there. Look, see this? Can you see that? Those little orange things? That is another feature of this software release, that it actually visualizes construction cones, safety cones. Now, everything looks the same, whether it's a big barrel or an actual cone. It will actually depict as a small cone on the screen. But that does work, with the caveat that that only works if your car is hardware 3.0 or greater. It does not work with the older Autopilot hardware. I was watching Dirty Tesla's video today, and he has an older car and he does not see these barrels, but right here you can see them on my left. There's lots of construction on this route, so you'll be seeing a lot of orange cones. And it doesn't really, I mean, obviously it doesn't really help you drive any differently. You see the cones yourself, but it is cool that you can verify that the car is seeing these objects around you, because when the day that full self-driving goes live, it has to see a lot more than just traffic cones. It has to see everything, you know, everything. So it's cool to see them slowly pulling the curtain back on exactly what the car does see, and hopefully we can get more of that over time. So just to go back to the automatic hold mode, supposedly it has a benefit to regenerative braking, because, you know, you're using the regenerative features of the motor all the way down to 0, supposedly, and they say that that is supposed to have a positive effect in your overall range, because you're regenerating more power. So far, initially, I turned on the hold mode this morning, yeah, before I left for work. No, actually, I did it at a stoplight. I turned it on, and I noticed actually that I got 1% worse battery life this morning. Now, obviously, that isn't a complete test. Power on demand. Woo. That's not a very thorough test, but I will be keeping an eye on it. With my commute, in normal situations, it will take me exactly 10% battery to get to work, 10% battery to get back. So, and I charge 90% every night. And today, after arriving to work, I was at 79% battery instead of 80%. So it was actually slightly worse than I am used to. So I will be keeping an eye on that to see if that trend continues or if that was a one-time thing. Okay, time to enjoy some Dunkin' Donuts coffee. It sucks since the clocks change. If I stop and get Dunkin' Donuts after work, by the time I get home, the sunlight is almost totally gone. I have to like run out and see the chickens, and that's pretty much it. All right, let's engage some Autopilot. I didn't really use Autopilot much this morning, so let's see if anything feels different as far as that goes. Each iteration of Autopilot that they've been releasing lately have been better and better, from my personal experience. It does better handling some of those problem situations that I've discussed in the past, especially like going through intersections. Now, I do still see that behavior though when a car is in your lane and exits into a turning lane. It still does seem to slow down more than it needs to. That problem is not as pronounced as it used to be, but it is definitely still there. But I do appreciate that the car now accelerates faster from a dead stop than it used to be. It used to be ridiculous how slow it would accelerate. Now it seems to more or less try to keep up with the traffic in front of you, which is a good change. Another feature I read about, which I probably won't really need in my usage, is you can do scheduled start times. You can basically let the car know when you're going to be departing. You can set a schedule, like if you leave for work at the same time every day, and it will time the battery charging so that the car is ready to go when you're ready to go. And I believe it also interacts with climate control, maybe to get your temperature up to whatever you set it at. But that's a new feature. It doesn't really do anything for me since I'm in Florida, but if you're in cold climates, it will get the battery up to temperature, which helps in the driving experience. So that is another new feature of this software version. Okay, this intersection I'm coming through now, this has historically been one of the problematic ones when the older versions of Autopilot were live. where it would come across here and it would have a hard time staying. Okay, that swerved a little bit more than I liked. Typically it'll just shoot straight through. That time I kept my hand on the wheel. I didn't really do any correction, but it got a little bit nervous there. But for the most part, going through intersections is not as inconsistent as it has been in the past. Much more often you just go straight through, no bubbles, no troubles. Over time I've learned to sort of, you become one with Autopilot, and you know where you need to step in potentially and when you don't. Like for example, in that situation where you have a car turning out of your lane, I will just naturally now apply pedal to keep my speed constant when I see that. If I see a car cutting across, I know that's going to usually trigger a harsh reaction from Autopilot, so I usually will disengage it prior to that happening. And I find myself doing that just habitually now without even thinking. No, I have no gas applied, no steering, but this is another spot sometimes where it could get a little wonky because of these curved lines. All right. Slight wiggle there, but it went right through. Pretty clean. So when you're in Autopilot, that's the way that it always used to be anyways. Like the new hold behavior, that's basically how Autopilot works. You know, when it stops, it's putting you in hold. So this is kind of just emulating that behavior just for non-Autopilot driving. All right, let's take it off here. Autopilot off, but we're stopping and holding. Interesting. My my USB, my webcam was working, but now it's not. All of a sudden, it said it was recording early, and all of a sudden I just noticed it. I now have a gray X there. I've had that happen in the past, and usually I just unplug the USB drive and plug it back in, and it's fine. But let me. All right, that was a very quick light. Let's do that right now. See if we get lucky. This is the Supersonic Rage 2 128 gig USB stick. I think I have a link to this in my video descriptions. I'm not sure, but it's been working just fine. All right, so we just plugged it back in. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, there we go. The red exclamation point, by the way, is it thinks that the tires are low. 40, 40, 41, and 42. And actually none of them are showing in a error condition right now. I think the car brand new was like around 44, 45. It's been a little cooler here, so maybe the pressures have dropped. I'll have to add some pressure to it. But I thought I read that the recommendation for PSI was actually moved down slightly, so I don't know. But I've noticed in the past when this happens, it just clears itself. It just takes some time for it to clear the message, but until it does, I'm going to have a red exclamation point. All right, so my USB drive is now magically good to go just by reinitializing it. Still have my streaming options with this update. Still don't have enhanced maps. Elon, come on, buddy. I'll pay a subscription. Give it to me. I want to be able to see satellite maps on my Standard Range Plus. Please. Okay, Autopilot is re-engaged, and this is a challenging scenario here. There's a lot of traffic on this road. I can typically leave it engaged all the way up to a Mockley Road where I got to make a right-hand turn, and it's with 2 or 3 lanes of substantial traffic. I set my max at 55 and just let it go. You know, other than having to interact with the steering wheel, it typically handles it just fine. So no foot on the pedal, hand is resting on the steering wheel but not actively steering. Not a lot of people have seen it, but if you haven't, you might want to check it out. Saturday nights, Cindy and I tried out another version 10 feature that we had not tried out previously, and that was the karaoke feature, where it turns your Tesla into a karaoke machine when you're parked, of course. We went out into the garage Saturday night after having a glass of wine, and we did some karaoke, 2 songs. We only have one of them up there in video right now, but you might want to check it out. It's kind of funny. And I guess it'd be a fun way to spend some time when you're supercharging, or a good party trick. So yeah, check it out. All right, let's see if we get it. If this guy in front of us turns. The guy in front of him is turning. No? Okay. I could have demonstrated this slowdown that I was talking about. Alright, here we go. Alright, so that car's pulling away from us, so the Tesla should accelerate to more or less keep pace. And it does. Enjoying my coffee. Oh, I wanted to mention, as I was washing the car last night, I was thinking to myself, you know, I love my Tesla. I have almost exclusively positive things to say about it. But the one thing that I'm not crazy about is the midnight silver color that I chose. It looks good. I like the way that it looks. But man, does it show dirt like crazy. I can wash it and it just seems like, you know, 2 days later, even if it's not raining, whatever, it just looks dirty. I've never had a car this color, so I haven't experienced it. So keep that in mind. If you get midnight silver and you like your car to look decent, you're going to be washing it on a regular basis. All right, let's do an autopilot lane change. Here we go. That still functions as it did previously. I've not noticed any differences in that. Even though autopilot is supposed to be able to, you know, safely change lanes, even if in tighter situations. I typically only will use this when I visually verify that I have a lot of wiggle room there. I don't know if I'd feel great about using it in a situation where you have a very small window to pull into another lane. All right, here we go. Traffic cones. The traffic cone demo. Seems to pick them up pretty accurately. Okay, cone coming up. 1. Let's see if it counts them right. 1, 2. As you even sees the one off there to the side. 3. And that was probably 15 feet off the road, something like that. Picked it up. That's good, because autopilot's gonna have to see a lot more than that. Or full self-driving. Wow, the car switched over to night mode already. Ay. Not a fan of the shorter days. Definitely not. Alright, I was hoping to be able to pop out here and demonstrate some Tesla power. Let's see if we can. Alright, got that lane open. Alright. I don't really have much room to go though. And actually, this is an undercover cop right in front of me. So I'm glad I did not I'm glad I did not stab the pedal and rocket past him. We'll back off here. Like I said, I'll do another video with another 0 to 60 test. But I'd be very surprised if this was not quicker to 60. Okay, so I think that I covered most of the features of the new release. So I think that will wrap up my video for today. If you found the video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please consider subscribing. If you're going to subscribe, you may as well hit the notify bell so you're notified of new uploads, which is over there, I think, when I'm sitting in this direction. Feel free to leave your comments, suggestions, ideas, and thoughts below. Seriously, if you have any questions or things you want me to address or check out or test, let me know. I am due to do another comments and questions video. Those are always fun, so I might as well start collecting them now. So leave your thoughts below. Anything that comes to mind. I hope that you have a good week. That's all I have for you for now. Till next time, Duckman out. Look at all those cones, man. Look at all those cones.